Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with this lesson, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you I say shalom. So the title of this lesson will be Rite of Passage. All right, because in this walk that we're going through, it's ultimately a rite of passage, right? Let me get that real quick. I'll just look this up right here. This is what the meaning of rite of passage is, right? That term. It says, rite of passage is a ceremony or event marking an important stage in someone's life, especially birth, puberty, marriage, and death. But let me see. Let me get something else. Let me get it into Merriam-Webster's. This is a ritual, event, or experience that marks or constitutes a major milestone or change in a person's life. Right, but this is exactly what it is. This is what we're going through is, uh, like I said, I call it a rite of passage because in this walk we're experiencing, you know, uh, a lot of different things. We experience mainly uh, patience, right, suffering, the ability to endure, all the hell that we gotta take on this side and endure and the temptations that we have to resist, to eventually, which will eventually lead us to perfection, right? Scriptures talk about here in James. Let me get it real quick. James 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 2 in the NLT. It says, "Dear brothers and sisters, when trouble comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy," right? Because that's what we go through, right? And that's what we gotta prepare ourselves for. We gotta prepare ourselves for troubles. We gotta prepare ourselves, you know, for when you read it in the KJV or in the King James, it says temptations, diverse temptations, right? These are things we're gonna be coming through and coming across, right? Especially in this walk of ours, right? When you read in Sirach, let me see, Sirach, the second chapter, in the first verse, it says, "My son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation." That's something we got to have in the back of our mind, that we're going to be tempted. We're going to be tested, right? We're going to be tried. The intentions of our heart, hey, the Most High is going to put it to the test. See if we're really sincere about this thing. See if we're ten toes down for the Lord, right? This is a tryout, and there's a lot of cuts that's going out. We got to make sure to be the ones to endure that cut. There's only going to be a few. Only going to be a few that's going to be saved. Scriptures talk about that, right? I believe it's what Zephaniah. When it goes into 2/3 being cut off and 1/3, that remains. That 1/3 is only 1/3 of the nation of Israel here in America. So only 1/3 is going to be delivered out of nuclear destruction, out of Jacob's trouble, right? Which is going to be a time period that has never existed, has never, pretty much, there's nothing, no other time period as bad as the time period that we're entering into, right? And only the elect are going to make it through. And they're going to be tried. They're going to go through, certain tribulations, certain troubles, certain obstacles, you know, that can essentially, break them down, can essentially steer them off course and make them, you know, essentially break, right? But we understand that the elect ain't gonna break, right? But that mindset, that's what the scriptures talk about. Put on therefore as the elect. We don't know who the elect are, but hey, we gotta fake it till we make it, right? Essentially, we gotta continue to, uh, in all sincerity, you gotta serve the Lord the best as you can. Every day try to get better. Every day continue to resist these demons, these temptations. 'Cause that's the battle that we're fighting. It's a spiritual one, a spiritual battle, right? It ain't really a physical battle because Yahweh Shai, he's gonna do all the heavy lifting. He's gonna come and physically remove America. He's gonna remove our enemies. All we gotta do is, like I said, endure the suffering, right? The scriptures talk about how's it go? I'm gonna get it real quick. It's in Second Timothy. Second Timothy. And Salaki, if I'm all over the place, just my thoughts, the spirit, is moving me to get this. This is Second Timothy 2 and verse 3. It says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh HaMashiach." So let me read this in the NLT. It says, "Endure suffering along with me as a good soldier of Hamashiach Yahweh." Right? So let me go back to the King James, verse 4. "No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier." Right? So now that we have been called into this, we are essentially Yahweh Shai's military. We're part of the military now, man. And as a soldier doesn't, you know, entertain vain thoughts. They're always on the edge. They're at war, right? You're not going to be entertained with or trying to do some folly when you're in the middle of a battle, when you're in the middle of a war going on. Now you're going to be focused. You're going to be circumspect. You're going to be prudent. You know, these characteristics that has a man be on edge, and that's exactly what we got to be. We got to be on edge at all times because Satan is constantly trying to sift us out, right? So let me read this again. 2 Timothy 2 and 4. "No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned except he strive lawfully." And essentially, we're also like the scriptures, or Apostle Paul likes to make this similar to that we are like athletes, right? An athlete, what they're trying to do, that they're constantly training the body, constantly, you know, have to go through this process of refining themselves, physically, in order to be the best, be the best it can be. Who is the fastest runner, who is the greatest wrestler, who is the greatest gladiator, all these things. But it takes a process, you know, and that process is kind of how what we're doing. The Most High is putting us through the fire, putting us through the test, seeing if we'll endure, seeing if we'll be the ones to, make it to the other side, spotless. The scriptures talk about being spotless and without blame. Roughly paraphrasing, I can't remember exactly where that's at. Right? Let me see if I can get it. Uh, I don't think this is it, but let me see. Hold on. I think it might be in the Apocrypha, Salakia. Right here. 2 Peter 3:14, it says, "Wherefore, beloved, seeking that ye look for such things, be diligent, that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless." You see? So that's essentially how we want to be found before the Lord when he returns, right? Spotless. We did everything that we needed to do, right? In truth, sincerity, and in love towards him. We did everything we could do, to the best of our ability, you know, and that's the mindset we need to be on. That's the mindset we have to keep throughout all this hardship that we go through, man. We got our mindset is to be that soldier, man. Be dedicated to the cause, right? But I want to get this. Um, Actually, I don't think I finished. I don't think I finished Second Ezra's. I mean, Sirach. As a matter of fact, let's just go Second Ezra's. Second Ezra's, seventh chapter. Salakia. Oh, this is where I was at. Salakia. This is James 1. I wanted to read this. James 1, and I'll start at verse 2 again. It says in the NLT, "Dear brothers and sisters, when trouble comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow." So going through this rite of passage, is going to test you. But we got to take these struggles, these tests, as we got to take it joyfully, because we got to understand this is a chance for us to prove ourselves. This is a chance for us to show to the Lord that, hey, we can do this. Pretty much put in your faith to the test, essentially, right? So it says, verse 3, for you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow, right? Just like I mentioned earlier, right? Like an athlete, they're constantly training themselves to get better. We're training ourselves through all these tests, temptations, obstacles that we go through, you know, these spiritual battles that we have to fight, right? Hey, we're training ourselves to be stronger and better. We have an opportunity to grow here, right? This is essentially how you got to view this, man. You got to view Satan as your sparring partner. He's the enemy, of course, but your sparring partner is going to be pushing you to your limits, trying to break you. Of course, you can't let him. That's the whole point of sparring, is to uh, uh, get better. You spar. You're trying to really even your opponent, right? When you go and face in the ring, you're in front of thousands of people. The obstacle is to win, right? And you're gonna be taking punches, but hey, you gotta be able to take them. Essentially, you gotta be able to take blows, not just give blows, but also take them. You gotta be able to endure, right? So it says, verse 3, "For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing." You see? And that's how the Lord is essentially, uh, I guess you could say, proving us, you know, because when you read in, I believe it's Zephaniah, right? Let me get it real quick. I think it's Zephaniah or Zechariah. Or Zephaniah. Wait, Salakia. Maybe it's Zechariah. Right here. Zechariah 13 and 8. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land saith Yahweh, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the left shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and we'll refine them as silver is refined and try them as gold is tried. So we are being refined, we are being tried, right? Essentially, the Most High is making us better, you know, is pulling all the impurities out of us through this process of putting us through temptation, right? Giving us these tests, right? See, so essentially, the Most High sends Satan to tempt us and to try to steer us off course, and through the power of the Lord, He gives us the ability to be able to endure these these attacks, so called, right? These temptations, these um, things that we go through, things that all brothers go through, right? Each brother gets tested on a different level and on different things. Not every brother's the same. Some brother might be this, some brother might be that. It just depends, right? But we go through this nonetheless. Every brother's going through this, uh, these various tests, trials, right? But it says, um, that was it pretty much. That was it on that. Let's go to Second Ezra's. I've been wanting to get this. Second Ezra 7, verse 6, going into that Rite of Passage, right? It says, "There is another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field. It is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water." Excuse me. So it says that city, no, a city. It says a city is builded, and that city is referring to the kingdom of heaven, right? It says being set on a broad field, full of all good things. And the kingdom of heaven is what we should be striving for, right? A place where the scriptures talk about how where riches with these won't break through and steal, where doth and moss doth not corrupt. Essentially, the riches and the goodness and the blessings we're going to have in the kingdom is never going to be taken away from us. You know, there ain't going to be no strings attached, right? Uh, and it's going to be forever. It's going to be eternal, right? The riches here on this world, a lot of people give themselves over to it because they can't see the kingdom of heaven, right? They weren't given that gift of faith, right? The scriptures talk about how this is a gift, right? The faith that we've been given, right? But essentially, the kingdom of heaven is that good city, or is that city set in a broad place, right? In a broad field. But in verse 7 it says, "The entrance thereof is narrow." So just getting to it is a very, very narrow passage, right? It says, "And is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water." So this is a very dangerous path to navigate. You know, you got to be um, circumspect and prudent, right? You got to be constantly careful. You got to be very careful how you navigate through this path. Because any wrong step, any misstep or whatever, you can easily fall over the edge. And essentially, our enemies, the spiritual demon Satan, but also Esau, Edom, the devil, they're constantly out to pretty much set us off course to where we do fall into that fire, or we do fall into that pit of water, right? Which would inevitably be death unto us. Because in this path, you got to be careful how you walk. You can't be carefree or careless. You got to be on point on everything that you do. Of course, we're in a time period of grace. The Most High is looking out for us. He understands we ain't perfect, but we gotta be doing our best, right? Especially seeing that only a few are going to be saved. We just read it. only 1/3. So this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and if you use it and abuse it, hey, you ain't gonna get no other chance, right? But verse 8 it says, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. Right? It's showing you the difficulty of this, man. Right? In the scriptures it talks about it. How Shah spoke about it. Let me get it real quick. Matthew 7 and verse 13. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be that go in thereat. Right? Just go into the different paths, right? Right here, you have Shah telling you to enter into the straight gate, right? But you have another path, right? That's wide. It says wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, meaning it's easy to enter into that. Many people go into that path. Shit, you can see that path from a mile away, right? It's flat, it's easy, right? People just coasting downhill to destruction, right? But verse 14 it says, because straight is the gate. Now we went into, as a matter of fact, let me get it. Straight, right? Narrow, straight. Um, it says narrow from obstacles standing close about, straight, right? Those obstacles, right? Many temptations, when you talk about a path, right? An obstacle can be like a big rock, a big boulder you have to walk around. You have to get on your mountain climbing gear and climb this edge of a cliff. It's a lot of treacherous. It's a very treacherous path. I mean to say, right? Very treacherous obstacles. You gotta be careful how you maneuver around it or through it, right? So this is a path full of obstacles, right? Verse 14 says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth to life, and few there be that find it. So there's only going to be a few that find it, and we're going to be willing to scale it, right? And scaling, I mean, like, when you climb a mountain, they call that scaling, and this is the path you gotta, like, essentially, like, scale it, because I mean that how I picture it, is something that's very difficult, something that's very hard that not many people can really go through it. And this is essentially how this walk is, you know. But like I said, this is that rite of passage. This is what we got to go through in order to make it, in order to receive the kingdom of heaven, in order to enjoy rest, true rest, right, and be called again the sons of God. Which is that uh, going to be the completion of that rite of passage, right? But let's see. Um, let's get Sirach. Just gonna get a couple precepts. I'm gonna close it out. Let's get Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 5, and it reads, "For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." Right. So we just made that analogy, right, of us being that gold being tried, right, being essentially perfected, right, getting all those impurities out of us, and then we'll be made acceptable unto the Lord, right? If we go through that same fire. But ours is, like it says, in the furnace of adversity. We're going to be going through adversity. We're going to be going through trials, tribulations, struggles. Again, this is that rite of passage, essentially. So let's see. Um, let's get James. James 1 and verse 12. It says, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahweh hath promised to them that love him." You see, so that's pretty much the name of the game, man. Just endurance, 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 endurance. Um, for us to keep continue to walk, like even though the path might seem long and hard, and we got to continue to keep our eyes, our head up, and the scripture says, man, hey, gird up your loins like a man, because we still got a ways to go, right? Even though we're almost there, we still got a ways to go. There's certain things we got to go through, and things we got to endure. You know, essentially, I mean, not essentially. What's that word? Um, Pretty much what's pivotal is us remaining strong in these times that we're coming into, right? Especially during the hour of temptation, which is going to be the ultimate test, you know, which is going to try everybody in the world, you know. But concerning us, the believers, the body, we got to be able to continue to prepare ourselves for these times, right? But this is Revelation 3 and verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also would keep thee from the hour of temptation. So we got to continue to, um, like it says, like we read in 2 Timothy, right? Strive lawfully, right? We got to abide by the rules and regulations of how this game is played, which is not even a game. I just use that as an analogy. We got to, um, you know, stick to the code, essentially, right? Yahushua gave us the blueprint. We got to abide by it, right? We were told to go out there and prophesy. We were told to be sheep in the midst of wolves. We were told to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. We were told not to bring blame onto the ministry. We were told uh, pretty much to stick to the script, essentially, man. Stick to the truth. And as long as we're able to abide by uh, those rules, as long as we're able to abide in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, right, it will be good. All we gotta do is continue to endure, man, right? But it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. You see? Because essentially, this is all the Lord's plan. This is all the Lord's script, right? But like I said, we were told we should carry ourselves in a certain manner and abide by certain things, right? And that's how we're going to be saved, right? The scriptures talk about faith without works is dead, right? Faith without works is dead. That means you got to put in the work to show your faith. You can't just say, I believe, and not have no works to back it up, right? Because you see, there's a lot of people like that, right? But it says, I'm going to read this again, Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So only those that are abiding by what Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh said, and they keep it to the end, they're the ones that's going to be, kept from the hour of temptation. They're the ones that's going to be, you know, pretty much that ain't going to fold when that time comes, right? Should the scriptures talk about be faithful unto death? So even in death, the elect are going to be um, standing 10 toes, ten toes down for the Lord. They're not going to be swayed. They're not going to be moved. They're not going to be tempted into taking that sea hip. That's essentially the hour of temptation. Whenever they start rounding people up, when there's no food, there's no water, all hell's breaking loose, martial laws in full effect, World War III, breaking out, you know, pretty much once Esau feels like he has no other choice but to come full force, right? That's a time period that we pray we're protected from, right? But it says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. This is that ultimate test, right? Because when you read this in the NLT, it says, because you have obeyed my command to persevere, mm, I will protect you from the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world. You see, so that's essentially it, man. You know, uh, this is this walk that we're going through. You gotta view it as a rite of passage, man. This is something that we have to go through in order to make it to the kingdom, right? There's no way you can make it around it. Scriptures talk about if you come up some other way. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on. Salakia, bear with me. I'm gonna close it out with this one though. Um, just trying to figure out how it's worded exactly. Uh, Man, what the hell? Salakia, I'm trying to see where it is. I think I spelled thief wrong. Yep. This is John 10:1. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the sheep door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. So there is no other door, man. There is no other door. You can only go in through that gate, the straight gate, right? And at the door is who? Yahweh Shah, right? There's no way you can enter if you don't go through the same paths that Yahweh Shah laid out for us, right? So I pray this lesson was edifying. I'm going to go ahead and close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rachah HaKwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm going to say, Shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah.